We are here at the top of the week, July 28th, 2025, to do the energy forecast for this week. And bam, this month is not letting up the ghost on challenging energies. It is like to the bitter end. Man, sucking some air here. But we're back to do the energy forecast for this week. Before we get to it, I've got a couple of announcements for you. The first announcement is that I have released the August 2025 timeline jumping forecast. It is available on my Linktree and or at my website, www.somaticmoney.com. Slide over to the video tab and click there and you will see it as a new release. I've also got a super bundle going so you can tune in and get the resources on timeline jumping philosophies and energies, the last timeline jump, the last major timeline jump in March. And what you need to know is we are re-engaging some more heavy-duty timeline jumping seasonal stuff. This is a kickoff. There's a timeline jump beginning to happen right now as I record it. And this really kicks off the next 4 or 5 months. So this is a great time to really be paying attention to what's going on with timeline jumping because it definitely affects the energy scope. Then, announcement number 2, I am continuing to do my artwork, and like I said in the last energy forecast, I'm continuing with it, and I'm going to be continuing to talk about it. Just want to share a little bit of what I've been doing. There's some hearts, some watercolor hearts, and I've also been experimenting a little bit with the texture art right there. I've got a video coming up tomorrow, going to be talking about my experiences with art. So let's go ahead and get to the energy forecasting for this week. And the first thing that I want to drop here is like, damn. Energies have been challenging. They've been challenging. Even for those of us we're used to rolling with the punches and we're coming along and doing really good and really great with everything. And it's just been tough. It's been tough energies. And so last week when I did that energy forecast and I could see all the different things going on, the one thing I did not anticipate that by the end of the week, it would just be all glommed together in just a messy ball of energy that was just really hard to get through. So just want to recognize that and honor that if you're having challenges with the energy more than usual, it's kind of par for the course right now. And I wish I had better news for this week. It's not really letting up until like right around that August 1st, August 2nd mark. And it's like, when I began looking at the astrology for this week and the energies for this week and kind of looking at the 2 or 3 week scope on it, I was like, damn, this month of July just really is not letting up easy. It is not giving up the ghost. And it is just like we are swimming through some of the muck and the mud of it right now. And it's a bunch of retrogrades that are then all conjuncting up with one another. And it's making us slow down and take stock of stuff. So I would just say overall, if you are trying to get anywhere fast or get things done and kind of like on, this kind of an agenda, probably not going to work out very well. This really is kind of like letting it come, letting it work. My spirit team has pretty much been saying it's not till the end of this week that we really begin coming up from air for some of these energies. I think the thing that really got me, like this is what cracked me. This is like, and I'll just be transparent with you. I usually tend not to allow myself to go into the depression area. I've been in a funk off and on. And one of the other things that's happened through this timescape is that I have felt myself crack a couple of times. And I had that happen quite a bit when I was doing my spiritual cleansing before Spirit Team turned me on last fall and everything went viral. Well, this past week, I felt myself crack twice. I cracked twice this past week. One, I was sitting looking at the news, just trying to keep up on stuff and stay present with it, and, hold that light field. And some of the stuff that I read, like it cracked me, I cracked with it. And then there was another instance where it was just all too much. It was later on in the week. It was just all too much. And I just sat down and it just felt like a moment of like, damn, it's the end. I am done. It's all kind of over. And I think, just to kind of talk through it with you guys, just from a philosophy perspective, when I was in that place of feeling like the things had really ended, things have cracked apart. I don't know how I'm going to go on. Like I literally had that feeling for, a couple of times this past week. And then when I would sit and talk with Spirit Realm about it, they would say, they're like, well, Dana, that's the grieving process of the end, of things ending. And I'm like, yeah, but we've been in this for a while. And they're like, look you're headed into timeline jumping season. You're right snuggled up against this next timeline jump. You are feeling the end. You're feeling the end. There's a crack in there, and the energies are retrograding and conjuncting, and it's all kind of glommed up. And so like what you're humanly feeling right now is normal. What you're going through is normal. So I just want to relay that message to you. If you are in a place of like, you're grieving and you're feeling like grieving for no reason, and there's cracking happening at a soul level, and you feel like you're in the sludge and you can't move, like that's all the energy that we're living through right now, both geopolitically and the astrology. The astrology is totally stacked up. Wait till I turn the camera around and you look at some of the traffic this week. And there's like so much astrology that it's all glomming together at this point. It's really hard to parse it out and be able to know what we're experiencing from the individual planet moves. Like you can't really do that right now because it's all like in a mud ball right now, right? So all of these human feelings that we're feeling right now with all of this that don't feel good, that feel really uncomfortable and then amplify the shadow and make it that much more difficult, that's kind of par for the course right now. If you're feeling any of that right now, that's kind of sort of the landscape. And so, before I swing the camera around, one of the things that I like to do is like, what is the theme for the week? What is the theme for the week? And like, I'm not even going to tell you what I heard that's the theme for the week, because it's just more crap on top of crap, right? So I transposed it into something that we can work with. And that is, this week, more than ever, is the FAFO week. And if you don't know what FAFO is, this week is kind of like, if you fuck around, you're going to find out. And it's kind of got that built into it. So this is me trying to find a little bit of dark humor so we can laugh a little bit and bring a little joy into the space and give ourselves some comic relief, because quite frankly, it's been a little bit too much lately. So I'm going to swing the camera around now and let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with this week. All right, so I have swung the camera around. Here is our first take on it. And Spirit Realm wants me to actually begin right here. Now, I'm going to be doing a Psychic Notes update at the end of this week. And so I kind of want to give you a Psychic Notes update right here, because you're not going to hear any Psychic Notes for a little bit, for a little while. And that is, as we slid into the end of this week, the Ghislaine Maxwell headlines were definitely front and center. You can feel things cracking apart for Donald Trump. His health is not great. It's getting worse. At this point, he's fled to Scotland, and God bless the Scots. They are protesting in his face at his golf course. Gotta love that. Thank you to Scotland. America really appreciates you. Well, in the middle of all of this, as we slid into the back end of the week, I could feel the rumblings coming through of this timeline jump right here. And it is a layer 3 down into a layer 2. We haven't had a layer 2 since March 1st of 2025. This timeline jump kicks off timeline jumping season. Now, as we were coming into this, I got to tell you, yesterday was really clogged up with energy, and it just felt awful. And then by the end of the day, I felt some things begin to shift and move, and for God's sake, if I didn't feel that wormhole thing again. So there was a wormhole that happened last night where we literally crossed through into this timeline. I don't know if you can feel it. I definitely could feel it, and I could feel my entire DNA light field system going through a complete change. Now, today, I would have to say, even though it's still heavy energy, astrologically, it does feel better because of the timeline jump. And I think that's the anomaly, is like we're in some really heavy duty astrological energy and then at the same time we're getting a lift, that is incredibly uncomfortable. And so one of the tips I can give to you is, during your meditation or during your quiet time, tune in with your body, tune in with your spirit team, and ask how you can best be energetically calibrated so you feel better in the timeline jump, and then you can navigate this heavier energy to help get you through. Now, the other thing I can tell you is this heavy energy, it's not going to last forever. Like when I was looking energetically on the, on the larger calendar for months at a time, all I could see was August 1st just gleaming and gleaming and gleaming. And this is the change up, because like we come out of this, number 2 timeline jump. And if you want to know what the theme is on this, that is in my August 2025 timeline jumping forecast. You can find out what the theme is of this timeline and what it means and how critical and important it is. So we come out of this, we have just a couple of days, and look at that's some really powerful energy going on there. And then we hit this timeline jump, the beginning of about a 10 to 12 day level number 1 timeline jump. We haven't seen one of those since January. So as of now, we are officially in timeline jumping season. I don't know that we're going to see this one that much on Schumann's. I suspect and expect we will see something on Schumann's, and expect to hear people talking about more timeline jumping information as we move through the energies of this. So I want to give that heads up, is like, we're not only doing the astrology now we're going to also be navigating timeline jumps, which ultimately move humanity and our situation along into more evolved spaces. Okay, that said, just a real quick nod to theme. We're just gonna give this week some dark humor and say this is the fuck around and find out week. Like the other theme on this was it was a little too heavy and not too fun. So this is my way of just saying, heads up, be careful, take it slow, get some dark humor in there. We'll move out of the sludge here pretty soon. Positive side, I had a really hard time finding positive side. So the positive upside with what we're going through, we as a collective and we as individuals, we are truly finding out who we really are. And you'll see that in some of the astrology. There's a lot of identity review going on right now. So this is not a lie. This is not a lie. And we're finding out the top side of who we really are and the bottom side of who we really are, both, individually and collectively. And some of it is like lovely and wonderful, and some of it is just painfully awful. But that's what we're doing right now. We're finding out who we truly are. And the challenge here is just sticking with it, just staying present. So all I got to say is, like, if you continue to get up every morning and give it your best shot, you're awesome. That's awesome. If you continue to get up every morning and breathe, way to go. If you continue to get up every morning and put your clothes on and be semi-functional and get some food in you and maybe some exercise and talk with a few people, you're doing good. So if you're doing anything beyond that, man, that's heroism in action right now. Just to kind of give it a lighter side here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the astrology. Now, so these 2 solid lines that I've been writing here, both the Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde conjuncting one another, this has been going on for weeks. Then recently we added in the Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde sextiling Pluto. This is in slow motion right now. And I have talked about this in previous energy forecasts. If you want to go, learn more, go look those up. Now, what's interesting is, oh no, is this enough? Is this enough going on with Saturn and Neptune retrograde conjuncting? Oh no, we're not only going to add in Pluto, now we're going to add in a sextile with Uranus. So Sunday, Saturn retrograde starts sextiling Uranus, moving through here, and then we pick up Neptune. So now we've got it stacked 3 deep. Are you beginning to see why things feel a little bit more slowed down and clogged up, not to mention Mercury is retrograde? So let's take a look at the meaning on this. Meaning on this is that Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde in Aries, moving back into Pisces, sextiling Uranus freshly into Gemini. This is about a period of introspection and potential for innovative solutions, especially in areas of personal identity and communication. This combo can bring both challenges and growth as individuals grapple with their subconscious while also exploring new ideas and ways of thinking. See right there? I think the thing I just want to say is, like, please don't be too hard on yourself. It's already hard. We're already having a tough time. You feel this stuff coming in, just, yeah, maybe review it, but just please don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, so then let's go back here, and I'm not like, these are just some real fast moving zingers. So Chiron Wounded Healer, we've got Chiron Wounded Healer is making an appearance here, 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 and here. So this whole thing that we're talking about is going to have Wounded Healer in the mix as well. And because it's Venus, this is, love and self-value, that kind of thing. And Mars is action. So be a little bit careful with that. Spirit team really wanted me to lean in here to this Venus square Saturn retrograde. Are you freaking kidding me? And Venus square Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, zing, zing, 4, and then Venus in conjunct Pluto that is in this mix. So can you just see the cogs of the wheel just, gumming up and shooting out fire? It's too much. It's too much. So let's take a look at Venus squaring Saturn retrograde with Neptune retrograde. Also, this is a period of intense introspection and potential challenges in love relationships and personal value. It can bring up past relationship patterns, watch for that, test commitments, and for a reevaluation of personal ideas and desires, particularly with self-worth, love, and personal identity. And let's put into the mix at the same time all this is going on, Sun conjuncts up with a Mercury retrograde. So communication is going to be at the forefront with all of this. And then this last piece here is Sun conjuncting Mercury retrograde for a day, a zinger. This is intense self-reflection and reevaluation of one's communication style, creativity, and personal expression. Okay, so can you see there's a lot of going nowhere fast. There's just a lot of going nowhere fast. And it started last week, and it feels like it just continues on like a slow moving train this week. So hopefully this information can help you out with maybe frustrations of feeling like you're running up against the wall, or frustrations with feeling like you're more depressed and it's just too much, or feelings of like, oh my God, why can't I get a solution on this, or a decision on this, or why can't I get things to move forward? It's like, because the works are all kind of gummed up right now. And then you add in a timeline jump on top of that, and we're sandwiched between two timeline jumps, a kickoff timeline jump and then a massive timeline jump. It's like there's a lot going on in the air. So I think this week is a good week to walk around just chuckling about, FAFO or getting FAFO'd and being careful about that. And I think maybe dark humor is our best ally this week. Like, go find your favorite comedian and cuddle up next to them. I can guarantee you I'm going to be watching some Josh Johnson and some Kristen Key and some of my other favorite comics, because it's just all kind of a little bit too much. But the glimmer I can tell you is Spirit Team for weeks. I haven't talked about this much, but for Spirit Team for weeks, they keep telling me it's really, really difficult. And then, blam, it breaks to the top side. And this is really difficult. And blam, it breaks to the top side. I've started accusing them of crying wolf on this, because I feel like they make me promises and I get through it and then I'm ready for the top side, and then it doesn't happen because we have another round of challenges. And I think what they've been trying to say is you get through this month, and then it definitely begins to break. And eventually it does break to the top side. But it is all moving very, very slow. It's moving a lot slower than any of us would like. And I can hear Spirit Team kind of weighing in a little bit on there's a feeling of when this thing breaks, it's going to start going so fast we won't be able to keep up with it. But I think, we have been slogging along with so much resistance work and presence work with our light field, and dealing with the shadow and doing all of our processing work with that, we all totally are at this space of like, all right already. And so I'm just here to say, like, hang in there for just a little while longer, hang in there for just a little while longer. And then on the back end of this, I want all of you to know that if you are watching for my psychic notes this week, it's going to land at the end of the week. Spirit team has pretty much pulled me off of the front line for this week. They're like, Dana, you did your reporting. You got everybody the information they needed. They're like, let it brew, let it bubble, let it work itself out. They're having me do a psychic notes on Friday. That should tell you something right there, because if the timing for me to speak up in psychic notes is on Friday, that tells me where the timing is for this week. So hang in there, do your due diligence where you need to. Do not push it too hard. Do not try and force things through. This is a week to let things bubble, let some stuff come to you. And if it's not working, go get your favorite beverage and kick back and take a load off, because I can guarantee you when this thing begins to start falling into place, we're going to wish we had taken advantage of the mulching time. We got a little bit of mulching time here before things kick off at the front end of August. So that's what I've got for you for now. Make sure you keep walking forward to meet the miracles along the way, and just do the best you can with what you've got to work with. And I will see you in my next video. Mwah.